I'm here to give a technical briefing to you, the leaders of the TRADOC Analysis Center, on the topic of fostering innovation. Here's our agenda and purpose. I want to provide you the tools that you need to be able to recognize innovation and to understand how to foster innovation within the organization. To do that, I'm going to give you a definition of innovation we can use. We'll talk about a concept that we'll use as a framework for thinking about innovation called creative diversity, and apply that framework for thinking about innovation to the tasks that we accomplish when we are thinking and being creative. Those are divergent and convergent tasks. They're part of our problem-solving process. And then I'm going to apply that to the concept of structure and talk about how structure relates to how we're creative and innovative within our organization. So those are the elements that I'll bring together today for us to talk about fostering innovation in the organization. Raise your hand if you already think you know enough about innovation to do this. Raise your hand if you think you'd like to have some tools to help you. And if it might be valuable for us as an organization to have a common way to talk about innovation in our organization. Okay, except for Don, most of us would like to have some tools that we can use to think about innovation. We're analysts. We help solve problems in a very structured way. Many people believe that because of that we can't be creative. But I'm here to argue that we're all creative. So let's look at this concept of creative diversity. And it rests on the foundation of 4 principles that I'm asking you to think about and decide whether you can accept or not. The first is that we're going to define innovation as people putting ideas into valuable action in a new way. So within our organization, when we're looking at something and asking, is this innovation, we're looking at our people, we're looking at the ideas that they're using, and we're looking at the work that we're doing. And we're asking, are they applying ideas to accomplish the work in a new way? If they are, that's an innovation. It's a substantial positive change. It's not just our incremental improvement that we do. And we have historic examples of innovation. Our processes within our organization are one area where we see innovation. Some of those processes, like developing constraints, limitations, and assumptions, or using our measurement space process, are explicit processes where we have opportunities to be creative and opportunities to apply ideas in innovative ways. We have tools that we use, analytic tools like goal programming that we've introduced into the organization that represent an innovation. And we have techniques that are part of the methods we use, like demand signals, where we try to characterize the distribution of demand for certain things in order to do analysis. We have large-scale models and simulations like Logistics Battle Command. All those represent historic examples of innovation in our organization. So how does that relate to this concept that I talked about of creative diversity? 4 principles, and they are that everyone in our organization and outside of our organization is creative, that not everyone is creative in the same way. And so how do we think about the differences in our creativity? And I would look at these 4 key variables, and they're related in pairs of 2. Every person has a different cognitive level and cognitive style. Cognitive level is about the capacity that each individual has. It's what they bring as a consequence of their education, their training, the skills that they've developed, and the experiences that they have. And everyone has an innate style or preference for their cognitive problem solving, and that depends on how much structure they prefer in the method that they use to apply to problem solving. In addition, every problem solving situation, every analytic situation we have, there's motive and opportunity. Just like a crime, motive and opportunity. So taken together, these 4 dimensions of creativity allow us to think about the different creative styles that people have. And they're what produce diversity in our workforce and in our partners and in our stakeholders and in our customers for the analysis we do. Finally, when you look at that creative diversity, there's no one particular ideal combination for all problems. Sometimes putting the person with the most cognitive capacity to work on the problem is not the right fit. And in fact, we solve problems in teams because we want to bring in those different creative styles and those different experiences to apply to the problem. Once we have this framework of creative diversity, does anyone want to contest any of the 4 principles? Anyone who does not believe, please, this is your opportunity for your questions throughout the presentation and also to challenge the concepts I'm presenting to you. So, I'm willing to take on the critics. No critics. Okay. So, that's great. We have these principles, this framework. Now we need to apply it. And I want to apply it by taking Guilford's concept of the ways that we go about thinking and to look at that. He's the inventor of things like brainstorming and talks a lot about creativity. And he noted that we do essentially 2 things in problem solving. We diverge when we generate alternatives or ideas, and we converge when we select from among those. I'm going to develop that further and look at it. So there's principles that are associated with this divergence and convergence, and it's that everyone does both. So there's every simple problem we have, we generate possible solutions, we select one. As analysts, if we solve simple problems, we'd be done, and we wouldn't be worth what they pay us. Fortunately, we have complex problems, so as soon as we start to look at alternatives, we generate even more problems to solve with each choice that we make. But we all diverge and converge. We do it differently, and we do it differently because of those cognitive levels, or cognitive capacity I talked about, and the cognitive style that are part of that framework for our thinking of creative diversity. So what do we expect? Well, we expect people who have a higher cognitive capacity at a higher level to approach problems differently. They bring more experience, they bring more knowledge and skills, they bring more innate ability to the problem. So we would expect that when they diverge, that they're going to explore more possibilities, and they're going to do it in a more sophisticated or advanced way. And we'd also expect that as they diverge, that they would have principles that are more advanced that they apply to their thinking as they converge down to a solution. What about this concept of style and how it relates to convergence and divergence? With style, more structured thinkers diverge in a more structured way. It's as simple as that. If you like structure, you're going to hold on to the structure and you're going to use it. And more structured thinkers, when they converge, are going to apply more logical and meticulous sorts of attention to their thinking as they converge. Now we're on a continuum somewhere between more structured over here and less structured over here. And it's, as analysts, we may prefer structured thinking, but we have decision makers and stakeholders and partners in our analysis teams who are less structured. And the truth is, within our own organization, we know there's a diversity of preference for structure. Some of us are a little less structured than others. So that less structured thinker is not going to cling on to the structure as he diverges. It may be more of a shotgun approach that's all over the place, and you may be able to identify clusters of ideas that come together. And as he converges, he may not respect the same set of structured rules that everybody else is using who are more structured to get to a particular solution. And a person who thinks in a less structured way, she may not be as prone to go along with the crowd as others are. And this is a good thing. Less structure and more structure among the people working on the problem, as well as different cognitive levels. So as analysts, as I said, we love structure. We bring structure to the problem. If you ask people what Army Operations Research Analysts bring when they come onto the team to do a study or analysis to help with the problem, it's a high cognitive level for smart folks. They have degrees in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, statistics, and other sorts of things. And they're going to put discipline and structure to it. But that doesn't mean we can't be creative. Michael Kearton, who's famous for talking about adoption and innovation types of models and other things, has pointed out that there's a paradox that comes with structure. Structure is both limiting and enabling. For example, when they look at children on the playground to take a physical structure, when a fence is present, the children use more of the area in the playground than they do when the fence is absent. The fence enables them to use that extra area on the module. It also limits them from going out beyond the playground. In the same way, when we think about problems, the more structure we apply, the more that we limit ourselves, but at the same time enable ourselves with the structure. So people see structure differently. More structured thinkers use it. Less structured thinkers want to abandon it where they can. But one of the myths is that you're not creative if you're thinking in a structured way. The truth is we do all of our problem solving in a structured way. So, by way of summary, innovation is people putting ideas to work in new and useful ways. We have 4 principles of creative diversity that we can apply, and that creative diversity and problem-solving activities using convergence and divergence gives us a way to think about it and use the style. Thank you.